Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. It's Russell with Ink and Paper Blog. How are you doing today? I hope you are doing very, very well. I am doing really well. I actually just got back from San Francisco filming some videos with Green Apple Books, which will be up over the rest of this month. I'm super excited to get you guys some more content from them. And one of them is actually going to be a YA recommendation video, which is super, super exciting. But today I come to you with my April TBR. A few days late. April's already started. But I wanted to talk to you about the books that I am hoping to read. Now, as you guys always know on my TBR, it's flexible. I don't always read everything that's in the pile, and sometimes I add stuff. Stuff comes in, I pick up stuff. So, you know, but I've been doing these TBR videos and they have kept me on track, which has been good. I'm going to start the video with actually two books that I've already read in the month of April. I'm not going to review them, I'm just going to tell you about them. And then I'm going to talk to you about the book I'm currently reading in April. And then I'll go through the rest of the books that I'm planning to read through the month. So, let's start with the first book that I read, and that is Home Fire by Kamila Shamsie. This book currently is longlisted for the Women's Prize for Fiction. It was shortlisted for the Booker, shortlisted for the Costa Novel Award, and rightly freaking so. It is so good, you guys. This is the story of three siblings, British siblings that are of Pakistani descent. They were orphans, not the right word. So their father disappears when they're very young, and he leaves to join a terrorist group. And that sort of puts a stigma on the family. And then very young, when the two twins are about 12, the mother and the grandmother pass away. So the oldest sister winds up taking care of her younger brother and sister. And this book is about so much. This book is about being Muslim in Britain. It's about the political aspect of religion. It is also about family and ties that bind, and it's about inner racism within the own community. It's so good, you guys. It's so hard to talk about. But basically, what happens at the start of the book, the oldest sister has gone to America to pursue a PhD program, and the younger brother has disappeared and has gone away to join a group to more or less find his father. He was very young when his father left, never knew him. And he hopes in joining a group in the Middle East that he's going to find out about his father. And this is about the connection between all of the siblings, the love of family. It's also about the politics of how do I want to say this? I'll leave it for my review, but all I will say is this book is flippin' fantastic. You will totally love it. I was talking to Simon about finishing this book, and he told me that her last book was also shortlisted for the Booker, so I need to get it because she's amazing. And that's Home Fire by Kamila Shamsie. The next book I read, God, you guys, I started off April with some kickers, I'm just telling you right now, is Trick by Domenico Starnone. This was actually sent to me by Europa Editions. Thank you so very much. I adored Ties, which, as an aside, this is translated from the Italian by Jhumpa Lahiri, just like Ties was. And you know, we all love Jhumpa Lahiri. Trick is the story of an older man, I believe he's in his 70s, who is asked to come to his daughter's house to watch his grandson while his daughter and husband go to a math conference in Canada. The book does take place in Italy. The thing is, his daughter lives in the house that he grew up in, and he has since moved to another city. So I want to say that the daughter lives in Naples, and he is currently living in Milan, or it's one way or the other. I can't remember. But he goes there, and it's about him learning about himself through his grandson. It's about the past and the ghosts of the past in a place where you grow up, affecting who you are. He's an artist, and he's been struggling with his art, and it's sort of how he uses all of that as inspiration. I won't talk too much more about it, but I loved Ties, and I really, really, really liked Trick. I know that Europa Editions has a few more of his books. I need to get them because he is amazing, amazing, amazing. So that's Trick by Domenico Starnone. I'm super excited to tell you about the book that I'm currently reading because it was written by one of my BookTube friends. And you may remember that I hauled The Decision by Britta, Bohler, and this is translated from the Dutch by Jeanette K. Ringgold. Britta is a booktuber as well, and she is over at The Second Shelf. And I did a little research about Britta before I started this book, and I have to tell you, she's a very, very impressive woman. And this book, it just grabbed me. I was literally standing in front of my shelf, and I picked it up, and I was like, I'll just read a couple pages. And now here you are. So this is the story of Thomas Mann, the writer, the very famous writer, and it's a fictionalized account of a 3-day period where he is currently living in Switzerland outside of Germany after the Nazi takeover, and he has made a decision to finally publish a letter in the newspaper, sort of criticizing and or giving his opinion on the current government situation in Germany. And what it is a brilliant retrospective view of how he got to where he is, and also the fear he has for the repercussions of this decision. It's really good. It's not, I don't want to say dense, that's not the right word. It is very thick with thought and feeling. Not a lot is happening because it's very much in Thomas Mann's head, but I am engrossed. So that is The Decision by Britta Bohler, and you guys, so good. And Britta, I'm sorry, I probably, as I always say, I probably butchered her last name. The next book I'm going to be reading is actually a book of poetry. As you guys know, April is Poetry Month. I don't read a lot of poetry, so there's not a lot of poetry in my TBR, but I was kindly sent by the publisher, or may have been the publicist, of this book, How to Love the Empty Air by Cristin Okeffe Aptowicz. I don't know how to say that last name. But let me just read you the back. This says, How to Love the Empty Air explores what happens when the impossible becomes real for better or for worse. Her journey to find happiness and home in her ever-shifting world sees her struggling in cities throughout America. And I just thought it sounded like a good, solid work about what it's like to live currently in America. I flipped through, the poems are short, they're long, and some of them just have sort of like that pack, that punch. So I'm super excited to read How to Love the Empty Air by Cristin Okeffe Aptowicz is how I'm going to say that, Aptowicz. And I am sorry, Cristin, for probably destroying your name, but thank you for having your publisher send me your book. And it actually comes out, it came out March 20th, so they sent it to me, but I saved it for Poetry Month. So, I have a few more that I'm going to try to run through really quick, and this book was actually sent to me by the author, and that's Giving Up for You by Erin O. White, and this is actually a memoir, and this book actually appeared on my radar because Lenny Zumas, who wrote The Red Clocks, said, Russell, hey, I read this book and I really think that you would like it. And I said, okay, well, I would love a copy. So that all happened. Thank you, Lenny. And thank you, Erin. And this book is, let me just sort, Erin O. White shares her hunger for both romantic and divine love and how these desires transformed her life. In the late 90s, she spent Saturday nights with her girlfriend and Sunday mornings in Catholic confirmation classes. But when the church closed its doors on her, she was faced with a question. What does a lesbian believer do with her longing for God? Which is interesting because I was raised Catholic as well. So I feel like I'm going to identify with this. And, you know, clearly I have a husband. So some of this is really going to speak to me. And my God, this cover is gorgeous. And this is actually put out by the University of Wisconsin Press, and they really outdid themselves. This is beautiful. So that is Given Up for You, a memoir of love, belonging, and belief by Erin O. White. The next book is the book that we are currently going to be reading in April for my Bicoastal Book Club, which meets every quarter. As you guys may have known, Ursula K. Le Guin, the amazing science fiction fantasy writer, passed away, and we decided we all as a group wanted to read one of her books. So we settled on The Dispossessed by Ursula K. Le Guin. And I actually don't know anything about this because it was picked and I just bought it. One, I thought it was super weird. I hadn't bought a paperback of this size in so long. So this says, Shevek, a brilliant physicist, decides to take action. He will seek answers, questions the unquestionable, and attempt to tear down the walls of hatred that have isolated his planet of anarchists from the rest of the civilized universe. To do this dangerous task will mean giving up his family and possibly his life. Shevek must make the unprecedented journey to the utopian mother planet Eurus to challenge the complex structures of life and living and ignite the fires of change. So that is The Dispossessed by Ursula K. Le Guin, and that is my book club book for this month, and I will need to get to that soon because we're reading next weekend. Okay, the next book is actually my book club book for my Around the World in 1,000 Pages book club, and that is Katalin Street by Magda Szabo. I'm not going to say much about this. Translated from the Hungarian by Len Rix. This is really an interwoven story of 3 families that are displaced because of the World War around, I think, 1944, and I hear it's very, very interchanging. Now, Magda Szabo is a very famous Hungarian writer. I've read The Door. I've raved about The Door. And I'm super excited. She has a dense style, but her language is amazing. And I've heard that Len Rix's translation of this book just won some sort of literary prize. So I'm super excited to get to that. The next book that I'm going to try to get into is I decided I needed to read some short stories. So I'm going to be trying to read We Are Taking Only What We Need by Stephanie Powell Watts. And the front grabbed me. The New Yorker says this is Lori Moore meets Eudora Welty. So there is a lot to be said about that. But these stories focus on the working class African Americans across the South striving for meaning and search for direction in lives shaped by forces beyond their control. The 10 stories in this collection deal with both the ties that bind and the gulf that separates generations, from children confronting the fallibility of their own parents from the first time to adults finding themselves forced to start over again. And 1, I think the cover is gorgeous. 2, I think that sounds so good. And this is by the Echo Press, I want to say. And I have read, I want to say 2 or 3 short story collections by them and adored them. And yeah, so this is We Are Taking Only What We Need by Stephanie Powell Watts. And last but not least is a book I'm just going to try to sneak in because I think it's going to be a fast and easy read. And that is Simon versus the Homo Sapien Agenda by Becky Albertalli. You'll actually see this. This was recommended by the YA person at Green Apple today. And then when I got home, Simon Savage tweeted me he read this all today and saw the movie today. So I was like, clearly this is a sign that I need to finally take this off my shelf and read it. This is just a young story of a young boy in high school finding love and coming out. I think that it is what I've heard. It will tug your heartstrings, and it is beautifully told and super, super sweet. So I'm super excited for the Simon versus the Homo Sapien Agenda by Becky Albertalli. Here you go. I don't know what to do, guys, with names. I really do try, but I'm such a phonetic reader because when I was little, I learned how to pronounce everything just in my head. So I really struggle to sometimes say words out loud that I've never heard said before. But that's an aside for a totally different video. And this was my April TBR. Have you guys read any of these? Let's talk about them below. What are you guys going to read in April? As always, if you are a return viewer, thank you so much. I so appreciate it. If you are new to my channel, welcome, subscribe. I hope you liked what you saw. As always, until next time, happy reading, and we'll talk soon. Bye!